Hi, I'm Jane Gates, and I'm here to talk a little bit about how to introduce some new fish in a pond. There's nothing more wonderful and soothing than watching the fish swim by happily in your pond. When you buy new fish, you're going to pick out your fish and they'll package them up in a little plastic bag that looks pretty much like this. And it'll be tied up, and these little fishies will be swimming, as you can see them down at the bottom here, waiting to be introduced to their new home. When you take them home, you put the bag in your pond water and float it for a while. Now, in this case, we're having really warm temperatures, so I want to make sure that the temperatures are neutralized and that they match pretty much the water that's in the bag as the water in the pond itself. And so what I'm trying to do is make sure that this will sit here for a good 10 minutes minimum. I wouldn't leave it much more than a half an hour because you don't want the air to disappear from your bag. If you're hearing all this noise, it's because, you know, you try to do these videos and be terribly efficient, and then you find out that the bag won't open. So, pardon all the extra weird looks of fingers running all over the place, but I opened the bag. This bag has been floating here for about 15, almost 20 minutes, and now they have a wonderful time tying these things up so that you can never get into them. So, hopefully I didn't make you pond sick while you watch this. But as you'll see now, I have an opening on the bag. What I'm doing is letting some of the old water mix in with some of the new water. Now the best thing to do, and I'm not doing it here, there are a couple of reasons. This is, if you can, the best thing to do is to let your new fish out into a separate pond and keep them isolated for at least 10 days, and that way you can be sure that you're not introducing anything into the water from the place where you bought your fish, because there's water in this bag. And I've just mixed some of the pond water along with the regular water, and I don't know if you can see these little fishies, but they are just swimming right out of the bag. You can see the bag is now, ta-da, quite empty. And they have gone and joined their pals down here, hopefully to have a long, happy life. And as I was saying before I so cleverly interrupted myself, if you can isolate your fish, that's always the best idea. You never can be that sure unless you really, really know the breeders of the fish, which in this case I did. You want to make sure that they're coming from a nice, safe place and that you're not going to have any problems with introducing any diseases or parasites into your pond. That could be kind of nightmarish. So, always a good idea after you introduce new fish into the pond. I can see they're already making friends. They're swimming around with their other pals here. They just seem to, they've got plenty of plants and good surroundings to keep them happy. They're not even shy. They're hanging right out with their pals. Okay, made new friends already. If you can't keep them isolated, always a good idea. If you can't, and even if you can, once you introduce your new fish, always again make sure that you move them from one place to another by putting them in a bag with plenty of air, letting them sit for at least 10 minutes, 20 minutes. Make sure the water temperature is equalized. Mix the waters a little bit and then let your fish go free in the pond. I like to keep an eye out for the next 10 days at least. Watch your fish. Make sure that you don't see any signs of illness or parasites or anything that's, you know, not what you want in your pond, because you want to catch it as soon as possible. If you see any little speckling on your fish, which is one of the more common and nasty things that can happen, you could get some diseases that are introduced. If you see anything at all suspicious, immediately, if you don't know what it is, try to identify it. If you can't, bring a sample or get a pond expert out to see it. Treat it right away before it becomes a major problem. Usually small ills can be treated pretty quickly and pretty easily in your pond. But this will give you an idea of how to introduce your new fish to your pond. And I hope everybody has a real happy future here together. And when you have a pond and you introduce your new fish, I hope they have a good time too. That's Jane Gates signing off.